In today's video, we are going to delve deep into the theory of descriptions. In our last video, I have introduced the theory in a nutshell and attempted to make you familiar with the background of the theory. Now, let's recapitulate what we have learned in our last video. We have discussed the what is this theory all about? This theory is about the logical properties and linguistic properties of definite descriptive phrases. We understood what prompted Russell to espouse such a theory. Russell was concerned about denoting phrases, especially his primary attention was towards the definite descriptive phrases that refer to nothing. That means empty definite descriptive phrases. And he posed the question, how do some definite descriptive phrases refer to anything without denoting anything? That is directly pointing to the empty definite descriptive phrases. And why he was at all agitated regarding this problem? He was agitated about this because predecessors of Russell, they confused proper names with definite descriptions, and this, according to Russell, has given birth to lot of problems, what Russell calls puzzles. And Russell believed that any new theory, logical theory, will be able to resolve all this problem, and his conviction was that his theory of descriptions is an effort to clear up all the issues that has been generated out of the confusion between proper names and definite descriptions. So he distinguished between proper names and definite descriptions. In our last video we have also understood the basic differences between proper names and definite descriptions. Proper names are simple expressions, and the meaning of proper names is simply the object or the individual it stands for, as so far as the naive theory of reference is concerned. Okay, we are not going deep into the theory of meaning of proper name. There is a vast discourse on the theory of meaning regarding proper name. We are not going into that, but just our focus is on the distinction between proper name and definite descriptions. So proper names are the simple expressions, whereas definite descriptions are very complex devices, and the meaning formation in the case of definite descriptions are very complex. So if the definite description, if the statement containing the definite description refer to nothing, then also it becomes meaningful. This is the most trickiest part about definite descriptive phrases. If the definite description refers to something, if the described object exists in the case of sentences containing definite description, then also the truthfulness of the statement is established through a very complex formation. Okay, it's not as simple as the meaning formation of proper names. In the case of proper name, the meaning of the proper name is simply the object it stands for. But in the case of definite descriptions, meaning formation is very complex, not as simple as the proper names. Alright, so now if the definite descriptive phrase do not refer to anything, then also the statement containing the definite description is not meaningless. It is still meaningful. And this is the most cryptic, the most trickiest part that Russell is dealing with. And he conceived that his theory of description is an attempt to explain the meaningful falsity of definite descriptive phrases. Alright, so he made a distinction between logical proper name and ordinary proper name. Today we shall begin his theory with the first puzzle, how he is posing his first puzzle. First we shall cover the first puzzle, and later on we shall be covering the rest puzzles, second and the third puzzle, and then we shall move to the solution that Russell is proposing so as to resolve all these issues. So Russell is distinguishing between logically proper name and ordinary proper name. Logically proper name and ordinary proper name, this distinction is one of the most important contribution that Russell has made in the field of philosophy of language. Proper names, ordinary proper names are those proper names that philosophers hitherto called proper names. Okay, so that ordinary proper names are the proper names that we ordinarily call proper name, like the Ganga, John, okay, Smith, all the proper names which we ordinarily call proper name are, Russell is calling them ordinary proper name, but according to Russell they are actually disguised descriptions. They are not logically proper name, they are disguised description. For example, Mahatma Gandhi, we tend to call it a proper name, but Russell would call it a disguised description because it is a description, that is dormant, and apparently it seems as a proper name. For example, Mahatma Gandhi, the person who fought for Indian freedom movement, the person who took the path of non-violence to a new height. Okay, so these are the descriptions, the definite descriptive phrases, the, because it starts with the article the person who took non-violence to a new height. So these are the descriptions that fits to the person Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so ordinarily what we call proper name are actually disguised description, so far as Russell's understanding is concerned. Now logically proper names are those demonstrative pronoun which we know through ostension that this is a camera, this is a person, this is a woman talking in front of camera, this, that, it is an object, it is a table. So it, this, that, he, she, you, all these, okay, are demonstrative pronoun. We know through ostension, directly through acquaintance. Yes, in this context I must mention that Russell invoked a distinction between knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description, and he is of the opinion that we know logically proper name only through ostension or acquaintance, and we know ordinary proper names through descriptions. Okay, now I'm raising a question. What if we do not distinguish between proper names and definite descriptions? Okay, proper names and definite descriptions. What problem would happen? What difference would happen if we wouldn't distinguish between definite descriptions and proper names? Okay, for Russell it is a huge problem to philosophers who deal with meaning. This problem he calls puzzles. Okay, he shows that there are a number of puzzles, at least he talks about 3 puzzles that philosophers confront for not so distinguishing. He emphatically held that any sound logical theory would be able to solve these puzzles, okay, and was confident that his theory of descriptions enables us to solve these puzzles. His own paper, he mentions, I quote, I shall show that my theory solves them. For Russell it was a problem, huge problem, because it will give birth to lot of philosophical problems that he calls puzzle, and he's talking about 3 puzzles that philosophers may confront because of not distinguishing between ordinary proper name and logically proper name. I'm sorry, the definite descriptions and proper names. And Russell believed, he had a conviction that his theory of definite descriptions is a sound logical theory because it enables us to solve the puzzle. So what are these puzzles? Let's begin with the first puzzle. The name of the first puzzle is called substitution of identicals. What is this puzzle all about? Let me just demonstrate it. Two expressions are identical. If we can substitute one with the other without changing the truth value. Well, I am going to restate it differently. Suppose A and B are identical with each other. A and B, A is identical with B. Now, whatever is true of one is true of the other. Okay. And either can be substituted for the other without affecting the truth value. That means truth value, what is truth value? Truth and falsity of a statement is simply called truth value. Now, the two expressions are identical. What does it mean? When do two expressions become identical? A and B. When are they identical? Two expressions are identical when they refer to, when they point to, when they designate to one and the same individual. Okay, so two expressions become identical when they point to one and the same individual. And whatever fact is true of the one of the two expressions, it would be equally true of the remaining expression. Okay. Now, but the portion creates a problem. Either may be substituted for the other. As we mentioned that any of the expression may be substituted for the other in any proposition without altering truth value. Yeah, I am going to exemplify this puzzle in a concretely, okay, in a concrete manner. Now let's understand that this puzzle is talking about one principle. This principle is known as substitution of identicals, and technically it is known as salva veritate. This is basically attributed to rationalist philosopher Leibniz. Leibniz introduced this logical principle called salva veritate, that when two expressions are identical, then one of them can be substituted for the other without affecting truth value of the statement. This is the basic of this principle. This is the essence of this principle. Now, okay, so what is the problematic part of this puzzle, or what is the problematic part of this principle? This will be clarified when we start demonstrating, exemplifying it with an example. One thing you must remember, that Gottlob Frege also encountered this problem, but in a different way, and he introduced his famous celebrated distinction between sense and reference. If you remember, we already have made a video of the theory on sense and reference. Sense and reference. An expression has sense, the mode of presentation, meaning. Okay, sense is the thought of a proposition, that thought that a proposition expresses, and reference is the object that it stands for. So sense is the semantic content of a proponym. So anyway, this is another topic. Now we are not going to divert. Let's come to the substitution of identicals. R.N. Tagore is the author of Gitanjali. Let's take this example. We all know that R.N. Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore, is the author of Gitanjali. This fact is known to all of us. Now suppose a person coming from foreign, he is asking to his Indian friend that is Tagore author of Gitanjali? Okay, this person coming from foreign is asking his friend with curiosity, is Tagore author of Gitanjali? Now his friend answers it affirmatively. Yes, he is the author of Gitanjali. Now this provides a piece of information to the questioner who is asking the question, is Tagore author of Gitanjali? Now suppose you imagine a different situation where the Indian friend knows about this principle called salva veritate and he wittily applies this in that situation. So he is applying in order to crack a joke, or in order to make it a funny thing, that he is applying a logical condition salva veritate, while his foreign friend is asking him, is Tagore the author of Gitanjali? Applying salva veritate, the original statement can be changed into this reformulated statement, is Rabindranath Tagore because the person who knows the principle called salva veritate, he substituted the author of Gitanjali for Rabindranath Tagore, because these two expressions refer to one and the same individual. And the reformulated or the substituted proposition will be, is Rabindranath Tagore. Now we have substituted the expression, the author of Gitanjali, for Rabindranath Tagore without altering the truth value. So in the place of underline, so Russell wants to show that it was not the intent of the questioner. The intent of the foreign questioner was that, is Rabindranath Tagore author of Gitanjali? He just wanted a piece of information, and he was not at all interested to merely know that whether Tagore was Tagore. Okay, so the problem is twofold. On the one hand, we are replacing one expression with the other, fulfilling a logical condition called salva veritate. On the other hand, we find a meaning mismatch. Why does this perplexing situation arise is a moot question. So to sum up the first puzzle, the two expressions refer to one and the same individual. When two expressions refer to one and the same individual, we can substitute one for the other in any proposition without changing the truth value. This principle is called salva veritate, and this is attributed to the philosopher Leibniz. Now this actually gives rise to another problem, what Russell calls puzzle. When we are going to substitute it in such type in proposition, there is a meaning mismatch. For example, John Walter Scott is the author of Waverley. If one person asks you, is Scott the author of Waverley? His intention to ask this question is simply to get a piece of information, not to just be sure whether Scott is Scott. Okay, but applying the principle called logical principle called salva veritate, if we restate the question, is Scott Scott, then on the one hand, we are replacing one expression we are replacing one statement with another expression, but still there is a meaning mismatch. It is not matching with the intention of the questioner. So this gives rise to a perplexing situation, what Russell calls a puzzle. So this is all about the first puzzle. Now I shall be discussing the next two puzzles in my subsequent videos.